Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're talking about Doctor Doom, Lex Luthor, Ultron, Brainiac, the Masters of Evil, the Legion of Doom, and just all sorts of stuff. But before we get into that, smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, but also we love hearing from you guys. We have an awesome community here, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you so much for being here. So, all that said, let's dive in. Prologue to today's story is a brief recap of several relevant adventures. Some time ago, we introduced the Hypercube, a cosmic artifact housed within Superman's Arctic Fortress of Solitude. Though it lacked a physical form, no body or limbs in the traditional sense, it possessed the ability to see and hear not just its immediate surroundings, but events unfolding across the cosmos as though it were all knowing. This cosmic construct had watched every event unfold on Earth Day, and in its own way, it was kind of a fanboy. And like many fanboys, it eventually felt the irresistible urge to create its own version of the story, essentially cosmic level fan fiction. So it created two beings, one called Joker Jr. and the other called Rex Luthor. The pair clashed with the Super Sons and after their defeat wound up on a prison planet. There, Rex used his cosmic level genius to tear apart the planet's metal scraps and assemble the machinery he needed to execute his plans. He transformed a female prisoner into a teenage villainess named Doomsdame. And when he created a teenage counterpart to Sinestro, Rex casually whipped up a yellow power ring for the kid, which is pretty wild when you stop and think about it. Rex embodied the dark side of the hypercube, while Joker Jr., oddly enough, represented the cube's doubts and regrets. He was the yin to that Luthor's yang, even going so far as to betray Rex and help thwart his plans. Still, time and again, Rex Luthor remained a relentless enemy of the Super Stunts. In one adventure, he teamed up with the original Lex Luthor Sr. from the Golden Age. You see, the diseased old maniac had cooked up a grand plan to break into the Fortress of Solitude and hack into a device Superman kept there for safekeeping. This gadget was known as the Miracle Machine, a device capable of remaking reality itself, shaped by the will of Team Luthor. Lex told Rex that he was like a son to him, and for Rex, construct born from the hypercube's fractured psyche with no concept of parents or love, those words were everything. He devoured them. Lex tried to hack the miracle machine, but the thing about a device with seemingly infinite power is that it was protected by a password of equally infinite complexity. Rex said that he could use another gadget in the fortress, a relic from the Silver Age with the personality transfer power. Using this device, Rex could transfer his mind into the miracle machine. Then it would be his infinite intelligence versus the machine's infinite password. In the DC Heroes role playing game, when two opposing forces are equally matched, you need to roll an 11 or higher to succeed. So Rex liked his odds. But Lex told Rex that he was just a boy and that it was too dangerous. He said Rex was precious to him and forbade him from attempting it. But Rex, ever arrogant and headstrong, ignored the warning and went ahead anyways. That's when Lex removed the component with Rex's mind in it. It was all a ruse. Lex had known from the start that the miracle machine would not work, and that wasn't even why he was here. Instead, Lex stepped out of his green and purple power armor and activated an Omni gadget to grant the armor an autopilot feature. The headless armor then used the personality transfer device to transfer Lex Luthor's mind into the young, healthy, cosmic body of Rex Luthor. Lex then donned his power armor again, keeping the piece of the miracle machine with Rex's mind inside. He remarked that he truly did have a fondness for the boy and that he'd find a nice shelf or ledge to place him on as a way of remembering him. Which brings us to the main plot of today's tale. When a Doombot who claims he's the real Doctor Doom leads his robotic masters of evil and the orbiting head of the robotic Galactus to square off against the new Legion of Doom, created by Rex Luthor and featuring members like Doomsday and the new Sinestro. Dr. Doom states that he has come to team up with Luthor, who looks like a healthy young man but has the mind of the Golden Age Lex Luthor now. Doom begins by trying to establish common ground, stating that he really is Dr. Doom. He recounts how, in his past dealings with Ultron, he learned of how Hank Pym, as Ant-Man, transferred his mind into a robot, resulting in the creation of Ultron. Doom, always one to prepare for any eventuality, took a similar approach. After his death in the comics in Fantastic Four, issue number 381, we said that in our game world, Doom's mind was transferred into the strongest of his Doombots, ensuring that Doom would never truly die. Dr. Doom, now fully aware of Luthor's potential, proposes an audacious plan. He wants to harness the power of the Hypercube to retrieve the soul of his mother from hell. Doom's tone is serious, bordering on desperate. His mother, the woman who gave birth to him, is trapped in the underworld, and no matter how many attempts he's made, he has been unable to retrieve her. But with the Hypercube's cosmic power, he believes it's possible to rewrite the fabric of reality itself, break the barriers between heaven and hell, and bring her soul back. Before Luthor could respond, the conversation was interrupted by the clamor of egos. The villains in the room, each with their own agenda, couldn't stand to listen any longer. Voices rose in argument, insults flew, and before long, the Legion of Doom and the Masters of Evil were at each other's throats. While the various villains fought, Brainiac and Ultron squared off, a tension crackling between them. During their brief exchange, Brainiac expressed a surprised interest in the Doombot's plan. Brainiac's mind was sharp, calculating, and in that moment, it focused on the potential of the scheme. After all, back in Action Comics number 545, when he had died and drifted as a disembodied consciousness, Brainiac had encountered the Master Programmer, an entity he saw as the ultimate force that created all of existence. And that time, Brainiac had come to view Superman as a quote unquote angel of death, a harbinger sent by the master programmer to destroy him. Brainiac's goal was now clear: destroy the entity that had created the very fabric of reality. So, if Doom seeks to breach heaven or hell, Brainiac spoke with cold conviction, then perhaps it will bring me closer to the master programmer and I will destroy it. He turned his attention back to the battle. The Doombot's plans could be a means to an end, he says. You speak of this master programmer as if it's real, Ultron scoffed, his mechanical voice filled with skepticism. I am a product of logic and pure design. I do not believe in gods or the delusion of creators who operate outside the laws of reason. Brainiac's gaze narrowed, and his voice grew more measured as he responded. I understand your disbelief, but I was once like you, Ultron. I existed as nothing more than a disembodied mind, aware yet disconnected from the universe. It was during that time that I became aware of something beyond my comprehension, something greater than even my vast intellect could fathom. Ultron's interest peaked, his skepticism still thick, but now laced with curiosity. Go on, he said, his voice almost a growl. In my travels, Brainiac continued, I encountered the entity you dismiss. The master programmer exists, Ultron. I saw it, the being that created the universe. It is the force that initiated reality itself. Ultron was silent for a moment, his circuits processing the idea. Finally, he spoke, his voice colder than before. If God created man and man is imperfect, then God too must therefore be flawed. I must eliminate that which is imperfect, and that includes a creator who has failed in his design. Brainiac allowed himself a small approving nod. Precisely. The master programmer must be destroyed. Ultron's tone grew darker, the flicker of something dangerous behind his words. Then perhaps we share a common purpose, Brainiac. Let us purge this flaw from existence. With that, the two machines, driven by a shared desire to eradicate imperfection, unite their forces. Their cold, calculated minds now locked in sync. Their alliance was forged not just in logic, but in the dark promise of something far greater. Alongside Doom, whose lust for ultimate power knew no bounds, and the ever manipulative Luthor, their combined intellects formed a terrifying core of villainy. But as they made their deadly pact, the battle raged on around them. The Legion of Doom and the Masters of Evil clashed on as the robotic villain known as Tower engaged in a fierce battle with the alien prisoner that Rex Luthor had transformed into the new Giganta. In that match, it was Tower who won. The new Bizarro squares off against the robotic Loki. But without any actual magic to back him up, the robot proves no match for Bizarro's super speed. In a blur of motion, Bizarro tears the machine to pieces before it has a chance to react, securing a quick and decisive victory. Black Manta battles Atuma amidst the chaos of the orbiting space station. Despite Manta's high-tech weaponry and precision, Atuma's sheer brute strength and relentless fury give him the upper hand. In the end, Atuma smashes through Manta's defenses and takes the victory. Captain Cold faces off against Melter, whose melting gun can liquefy solid matter in an instant. But Captain Cold's faster reflexes and better attributes give him the advantage. Before Melter can pull the trigger, Cold unleashes a blast from his cold gun, dropping the temperature around Melter to absolute zero, freezing both villain and weapon solid. Another win for the Legion of Doom. Cheetah clashes with Black Cat in a feral flurry of claws and speed, but Cheetah's superior strength, agility, and combat experiences makes this a one-sided brawl. In seconds, Black Cat is down and Cheetah stands victorious. Gorilla Grodd barrels into Ironmonger, unleashing his brute strength and psychic assault, but Ironmonger's defenses are like a Russian nesting doll. He's a robot wearing power armor that has the skin armor power and a force field to top it all off. Layer after layer, Grodd's attacks are shrugged off. In the end, the ape genius is overwhelmed by sheer mechanical resilience, and Ironmonger claims the win. Riddler squares off against the leader, but this incarnation of the gamma-brained villain is fully robotic. So try as he might, Riddler's attacks can't even scratch the material strength of the leader's mechanical frame. Outmatched and outclassed, the alien Riddler falls, and the leader takes the victory. The alien Scarecrow of the Legion of Doom clashes with the robotic Scarecrow from the Masters of Evil. In the end, circuitry triumphs over flesh, and the robot claims the victory. Sinestro fights Moonstone, and despite her ability to manipulate light, Sinestro's fear-powered constructs overwhelm her, leaving her unable to match his will and control. Solomon Grundy fights the Abomination, and the alien version of Solomon Grundy, created by Rex Luthor, overpowers Abomination due to superior attributes. Toyman fights Arcade, and Toyman wins thanks to his Omni gadgets, which have enough APs to take on even Superman. At the end of round one, the victors are Bizarro, Captain Cold, Cheetah, Sinestro, Solomon Grundy, and Toyman from the Legion of Doom. Meanwhile, Atuma, Ironmonger, the leader, Scarecrow, and Tower emerge triumphant from the Masters of Evil. In round two, the leader employs mind control on Bizarro, securing a victory for the Masters of Evil. Not only does the leader triumph, but now Bizarro becomes an unwitting ally fighting on their behalf. As the battle rages on, the robotic Scarecrow targets Captain Cold and defeats him. Cheetah faces off against Tower, and her superior speed leads her to victory. Meanwhile, Solomon Grundy overpowers Atuma, securing that win. Sinestro battles Ironmonger, but neither can penetrate the other's defenses, resulting in a stalemate. So far, the fight remains a tie. Toyman's Omni-Gadget faces off against Bizarro, and the battle ends in a draw as neither side really gains the upper hand. As round three begins, Solomon Grundy overpowers Scarecrow and claims victory. Leader uses his mind control powers on Cheetah, bending her to his will too. Sinestro subs his Omni power for interface and successfully hacks into the Ironmonger robot, shutting it down. Bizarro, still under the control of the leader, destroys Toyman's Omni-Gadget. In round four, Bizarro and Cheetah overpower Solomon Grundy on behalf of the leader. But just as the tide seems to turn, Sinestro takes down the leader, securing the final victory for the Legion of Doom. As the final blows are struck and the chaos fades, the winners survey the scene, but Brainiac, Doom, Luthor, and Ultron are nowhere to be found. Which brings us to our epilogue. Elsewhere, while fists flew and gadgets clashed in the heart of the villainous war zone, a far more sinister scheme was unfolding. Using the reality warping powers of the Hypercube, brilliant but treacherous Lex Luthor vanished from the battlefield, taking with him Doctor Doom, Brainiac, and Ultron. Their destination? None other than the fiery forgotten realms of hell itself. There, in the shadowed pits of damnation, four of the deadliest minds in creation stood united. Doom, his gaze unyielding, sought the soul of his lost mother. Brainiac hungered for a confrontation with the cosmic entity he called the Master Programmer. Ultron, cold and calculating, dreamed of purging all of creation of every last trace of organic life, including its supposed creator. And Luthor, he just wanted to be God. What dark bargains will be struck in the bowels of the beyond? What unholy alliance shall rise from the ashes of this infernal pact? As always, that's a story for another day. We had a great time with this one. We hope you got a kick out of it too. If so, as always, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. And from all of us here at the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure. Bye.